Namaste, namaste, precious, precious souls. Welcome to Book of Life for the first weekend in October. We have the last lesson in the fourth degree, come a long way. So tonight we'll be reading the fourth degree, lesson 22, Love in the New Age. So before we begin, we can go ahead and invoke. Just go ahead and be in a nice receptive pose, palms facing up. Place the tip of the tongue onto the palate. And if you want, you can go ahead and close your eyes. To the Supreme Being, the source and fountain of all life, to the Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, to all of our spiritual teachers, spiritual elders, Holy Master Choa, Buddha Padmasambhava, to the Circle of Seven, to Robert, to Earlyne, to Burton Bigelow, Master Astara, Lord Kuthumi, Lord Rama, Lord Zoser, the Astarian hierarchy, to the Lord Yehoshua Bar Miriam, the Lord Christ, Holy Mother Mary, Lord Kuan Yin Buddha, Lord Gautama Buddha, all the great ones. Sanat Kumara, the Ancient of Days, the Solar Logos, Lord Amen Ra, the Universal Logos, the Central Spiritual Sun. We thank you for your great, great blessings. May we be a channel through which thy holy ones approach the world. May we be a center for the radiation of thy power. Teach us to travel light, that we may better gain the heights and break the bonds that bind. Teach us to give ourselves entirely to thy service, to attune ourselves to thy will. Teach us to lay down the small personal life for the greater cosmic life, and to love with the love of God. Tat tat so, tat tat so, tat tat so. Okay. So, fourth degree, lesson 22, Love in the New Age. Questions regarding love. We continue to ask Burton many questions concerning intimate relationships, such as, how are all the questions concerning love ever answered? What about unrequited love? The depth of the intimacy between two committed partners, each seeking fulfillment outside the relationship. The heart which has known more than one deep, true love, but lost through death. Which love will one claim in heaven? What is the basic solution for Earth's problems? And Burton continued to answer. Actually, almost every human problem is directly or indirectly linked with love. For many problems of Earth are commingled with problems surrounding the issue of love. Every Etherian of the higher planes knows this. Indeed, it is through our persistent influence that love on Earth is taking on new meaning. We seek to help you prevent your relationship problems rather than cure them. For only as human beings learn the true meaning of love will the problems of Earth find solutions. Love takes 1,000 forms. Love is intertwined with the very life we all lead on every plane. Among Etherians, love begins when two souls first become aware of the vibration of the other. And it is so different among you of Earth. Although your receiving set, your body, is admittedly coarser, still your dense physical form projects its own spiritual wavelength and special vibration. And like radio sets, you are receivers for corresponding and complementary waves. What causes mutual response between persons? Future partnership among human beings. When a wavelength harmonizes vibrationally with your own, it cannot help but stir a response. The vast ethers of space contain millions of vibrations flowing outward on specific wavelengths, seeking corresponding wavelengths. Every human form possesses its individual antenna, which, like the rotating radar antenna at a space tracking station, is forever subconsciously feeling for its partner, seeking to find the beloved. As powerful dynamos and electric batteries charged by the constant flow of mind and soul energy, you perpetually project streams of thought and emotion. Your current is too frequently short-circuited, failing to find proper acceptance on all levels. Too often, this projection of subliminal consciousness makes a contact only on a physical level. More rarely, the contact also synchronizes on the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. Thus, even on the earth plane, attraction often begins prior to an actual physical contact. It begins with an exchange of vibrations. It is difficult on your earth level to recognize whether the exchange of vibrations carries you beyond the physical, but not so in Etheria. Over here, the antennae are far more sensitive. The reading of another's aura is more simplified. Therefore, our approach to love is considerably beyond the contact of the body. A great image here on page 3. When the age of intuition becomes more fully unfolded in Etherians, we will feel beyond our physical responses. We will instinctively and intuitively recognize one whose aura harmonizes with our own on all levels. When the age of intuition comes, when the age of intuition becomes more fully unfolded in human beings, you too will feel beyond your physical responses. You will instinctively and intuitively recognize one whose aura harmonizes with your own on all levels, in all things, but particularly in your most important relationships. You will begin to use a psychic filter. This means that your more sensitized spiritual antenna will learn how to more positively recognize the polaric vibrations that correspond and harmonize with your own. Seeking the corresponding polaric, you will recognize it via the psychic connection you feel with the other. This is why commitment in Etheria is a more cautious procedure than on Earth. The astral form, being an exquisitely more sensitive radio, will not become involved with one who does not harmonize vibrationally. Over here, the searching for one with a harmonious polarity is an all-important consideration when seeking a partner of the heart. Unless there is vibrational harmony, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, the sharing of a personal love is out of the question. Does my head rule my heart or vice versa? Where human beings sometimes err, it is on this mental level that people on earth sometimes make a mistake. Too often, they permit themselves to be blinded and misled by the first vibrational physical attraction. Too often, the people commit themselves to one another, only to find themselves involved in a quagmire of misery. It is also true, of course, that people often become involved in relationships in order to learn important soul lessons about themselves, in order to grow, in order to share the best of themselves. Thus, even when a relationship involves some conflict or does not last a lifetime, it can be of great value and should not be thought of as a failure. Sexual and spiritual issues. Clearly, many people experience problems because sex has too long been associated with sin or with guilt. Spirits are in the human body because they are to experience all the positive and negatives of life in that body. Guilt or shame regarding sexual behavior usually causes only confusion and almost guarantees low self-esteem and unhappy relationships with others. This never should be the goal. It is, of course, true that the most fulfilling adult committed relationships include a healthy sexual relationship, good self-esteem, mutual respect, good communication, emotional connection and expression, and many other factors. And it is also true that the best sexual relationships develop between two people who love one another deeply and are committed to one another. All of these factors encourage the growth of a deep and abiding spiritual connection between these two partners as well. How Etherians handle relationship problems. How do Etherians handle their relationship problems? We ask Burton, and he tells us. First of all, it must be realized that Etherians dwell in a dimension entirely different from your time-space plane. When a soul from Earth first arrives over here, they may find themselves relegated to the lower astral planes where eating, sleeping, and sexual relationships are continued, much as they were on Earth. As one progresses higher, one emigrates from the illusion land of the astral and enters Summerland, where mental, emotional, and spiritual powers are developed and expressed. The beings on this plane no longer express love in the physical fashion as occurred on Earth. The new form is more refined, just as the pilgrim discovers that there is no need for nourishment in the same way it was taken on Earth. He or she also discovers that intimacy with a partner is expressed through more ethereal methods. On this plane, the pilgrim is capable of experiencing pain and pleasure, joy and despair, as was experienced on Earth, but such expressions transcend those of Earth. On the astral, there is no love, sex, sin trinity. Etherians accept beyond question that a soul can love more than once. On the lower planes, there is indeed no permanent marriage nor giving in marriage. They meet and fall in love just as do people on Earth, and they express love together, but they recognize that these ties may not endure. They take each other for better or for worse, so long as they both shall love and care for one another. Are you shocked? If so, let us see how it really is on Earth. On Earth, couples vow to accept each other so long as they both shall live. But how often are the vows kept? Those who look askance at the practice of the Etherians would do well to remember that many people on Earth have come to the same procedure. How different is it presently upon Earth? A couple meet, fall in love, frequently they marry, or become committed in one another in some way, to one another in some way. Sometimes they stay together, sometimes they divorce, and many times remarry several other times during one incarnation. The principal difference between the astral practices and earth relationships is that such unions upon earth often bring forth children. Love degraded becomes lust. Also, people on earth at times mistake lust for love, whereas on the higher astral, two persons cannot and do not come together in an intimate way who do not express a purer emotion of love. On earth, having exhausted all the happiness each can give the other, they leave one another or divorce, often with love having turned to bitterness and hatred. On the astral, a couple meet and love and stay together until they too have exhausted the love force. Unlike Earth, however, instead of this being a matter of a few months or years, it usually spans the Earth equivalent of several scores of years. When the love force specifically generated by these two is spent, they part, remaining comrades and good friends, and each goes to other loves. How could it be otherwise? No soul is the property of another. Each soul is free. Each soul belongs only to itself. And over here, soul progression is the principal purpose of being, just as it is on earth. Parting is with mutual accord, for each one recognizes that he or she possesses no permanent claim upon the soul of another. One of the most important parts of Earth life is the frantic search to find one special person to love. Earth seems to be the seeking ground. On the astral, when a couple has run the gamut of their spiritual and emotional experiences together, they cease to be a couple. Each has contributed to the emotional and spiritual growth of the other, and each is released to find greater fulfillment. Over here, no one sticks together to save a marriage, to save face, or because to separate would be a sin. Indeed, staying together would be the greatest error, or the greater error, for it would only result in spiritual stagnation. On earth, these things do not hold true as often since people face different sets of rules and responsibilities. You bring forth your young from the marriage union, and it is they who should be first given consideration. Where do karmic ties originate? As it is on earth too, that more enduring karmic ties are born, witnessing the trend on earth today and being familiar with the love aspect on the astral. We can see a new way of life opening for people concerning love and relationships. sex in its proper place in the new age. As the form of the human being becomes increasingly refined, sex will gradually lose its connotation with sin and become increasingly merged only with love. In the new age, humankind's creative powers will gradually be lifted out of the reproductive organs up into the brain, and humanity will find itself expressing less animalistic sexuality and more of mental bliss. How does soul growth adjust the role of sex? As people individually experience genuine spiritual progress through spiritual practice and study, each person will channel some energy previously expressed in sexual behavior into a more spiritual awakening. At the same time, the sexual relationship between two people who love one another and who are also aware of the importance of their spiritual lives will be imbued with spiritual purpose and energy, thus enhancing the sexual relationship and assisting in each person's spiritual growth as well. Each person will begin to learn the proper role of sex in soul growth as more turn toward meditation and mysticism as an expression of their love of God. They will find promiscuous sex becoming increasingly unimportant. The true happiness of the illumined inner life will be of greater and greater importance, enhancing and spiritualizing every relationship the seeker is in. All this is not to say that Ethereans reject the idea of commitment, for almost all still embrace the idea of true marriage. What do we reject? What we do reject is the idea of two people remaining together should love depart even after each soul has worked hard to improve, to change the relationship in some positive way. To do so would mean the beginning of rejection, indifference, repulsion, and eventually hatred. This we consider the greater mistake. Our entire world revolves upon the essence of love, and whatever interferes with its expression is only limiting to soul growth. Should divorce cause enmity? The separation of two souls who have worked in vain to improve the relationship who no longer love one another is the natural and only solution. It is sad that when two persons no longer find themselves compatible on earth, they often say derogatory things about each other during and after divorce or separation. If a parting is inevitable, the two should endeavor to part amicably and remain friends. Hatred versus love. Unlike human beings, the Etherians live by love and love alone. Any hatred over here is relegated to the lower planes, but on the higher astral, the law of love is the law of life, simply because souls part from one another while still friends when they have ceased to love one another, never allowing the emotion of love to degenerate into mere tolerance or indifference. Etherians associate sex only with love, while too frequently people on earth associate sex only with pleasure. This is not to suggest that one should not find and value pleasure as a part of the sexual relationship. Too long have human beings been scolded for finding any happiness in sex of itself. People are only now emerging from the puritanical pretense that sex is only for the purpose of making children, not love. Pleasure found in the sexual relationship has been considered too long as sinful. Not so on the astral, since love is the law of life over here. Love expressed appropriately through the sexual relationship plays an important basic part. It is true that as souls evolve out of the astral plane and attain higher planes, love expressed through sex begins to be replaced by a higher spiritual force. The same is true here on earth. When the initiate attains a certain level of spiritual unfoldment, celibacy often becomes a part of the program. On earth, this seeker's creative energies will be turned upward and transmuted into intuitional powers. People have labeled the love union as making love. Love cannot be made, it is. To simply experience the sex act is not necessarily to experience love. To make anything implies creativity. Love cannot be made nor created, for it already is created, and one only needs to rise into it, for all love is vibrational affinity. The relationship between two people can rise into a higher vibrational affinity. However, through true love, true respect, true understanding, true emotional connection and expression. All of this can be expressed between two people in many ways, the sexual relationship being one of them. This relationship can be enhanced by spiritual growth, awareness, and energy, which can come into the relationship through many avenues. The sexual relationship being one of these, rebirth and love. It is because Earth does present challenges and obstacles that we continue to return to the world of matter. One must try harder to attain the heights when encased in a material body. This much is certain. Having taken on an earthly form, every soul who remembers even vaguely life in the higher spheres will subconsciously set out to make Earth as much of a heaven as possible. We know it to be true that you can accomplish more soul development in an hour of on earth in a physical form than in a year of heaven in a spirit form. Is life easier in heaven? The realms of heaven offer no field for the exact type of challenge and conquest which is found on earth. There are not the same kinds of obstacles here against which mind and spirit can strive and grow. Life is easier for us here. It is on earth that you must go do the striving and growing, the plowing, the struggling. Therefore, the soul, when given an incarnation of 70 years on earth, can make more progress than in hundreds of years on the inner planes. But having spent those years and going back into rebirth on earth, the soul that remembers will point many of his or her activities toward bringing heaven to earth. Thus, as the centuries go by, love on earth takes on a different meaning. Too long has humanity as a whole been so engrossed in the daily toils of living that opening one's heart to true divine love has been a seldom sought after goal. The insweeping souls, bringing with them a memory of the freedom of the higher planes, will in time find some way to make the material aspects secondary and the love aspect foremost. Over here, we need no daily bread, no payment for rent, for homes, for automobiles, for clothing. There is no worry about one's health or safety. One finds oneself free to make love an innate part of one's being and to reach toward the divine heights. In the lowlands, it is true, inhabitants remain convinced of the need for nourishment, for sleep, for the practice of sex as they knew it on earth. On the higher astral, the need for food is soon transmuted. We learn to absorb revitalizing energies through the pores of our new body, and our sleep, if we need it at all, becomes a twilight dream state which refreshes and renews. Two lovers of the higher planes find themselves participants in a depth of feeling impossible to attain in a physical form. On such planes, feelings, sensations, and thoughts are transmitted to the other instantly. Communication is by telepathy, and emotions are equally exchangeable by a clear sensing. As the new age unfolds, the coming souls will express qualities we might term as fourth dimensional. And though you on the brink of the age, still as through a glass darkly, you are beginning to pierce the veil of matter dividing our two worlds. When you drop your dense body, you will enter spheres that are ruled by different laws of space and time. As you adjust to a world of new dimensions, your concepts of love will change along with other habit patterns peculiar to your present three-dimensional world. Which is stronger, force or love? Endurance. All the vows until death do us part, spoken from here to eternity, will not ensure perpetual love. Love cannot be promised to endure for any stipulated length of time. Not by swearing, nor by oath, nor by vow may love be assured. No one can make love continue if it ceases. Love is its own assurance. Love is the mainspring of evolution. Love is its own natural law, and nothing can stand against it. Many things, said Jesus, I would say unto you, but you cannot bear them now. Greater love is coming as you advance on the path. The divine current expands as you yourselves expand spiritually and are able to understand or bear it. Each age carries the human life wave to a higher illumination, and individual humankind continually requires new teaching and a larger intuitional insight into the laws that govern people and the universe. To truly understand life and love after death, one must study them before death. The veils between our two worlds are growing thinner. No longer does science scoff at ideas concerning the other world. The pathways between yours and ours have become so well defined that it is no longer possible for theology and dogma to obscure them. Materialism has been found to be as shallow as the matter of which it is made. Your young people are seeing visions, and your wise elders are dreaming dreams. In the place of dogma will come the true religion of pure, deep love. With the dawning of the Aquarian age, your world is passing from adolescence to adulthood. You are becoming more able to bear the truths which Jesus could not share with his earlier disciples. Your little earth is growing up, and men and women are beginning to understand the truth of their immortality. Education in love. There begins to be a realization among the people of earth of the necessity for education in love. In your schools and universities, you are beginning to embrace teachings which suggest the unity of all life, the importance of respect across racial, cultural, sexual, national, and religious lines, and to embrace the importance of universal love, as well as respectful love of self and of one's partner. People are also learning that the creative instinct is an essential part of human nature, and one of the principal occupations should be expressing it wisely. It is important to learn that the creative instinct is only partially served through sexual expression. Why I need an avocation, a hobby. Every man and woman would be wise to build toward a creative outlet. Those who feel they do not possess a constructive mind or imagination can find some expression of creativity, if only in the enjoyment of beauty, of nature, of art. But the person who balances respectful sexual expression in a loving relationship with other forms of creative expressions in life is the person who enhances their sense of overall fulfillment. You are beginning to understand that just as you teach the physical sciences in your schools, so must adolescents be taught the true science of love. For love is indeed a science, produced of a mysterious chemical and expressing as the most powerful of all human instincts. When human beings begin to learn enough about love and to pass this knowledge on from generation to generation, then will earth become more like heaven, guided by divine and universal love for all of life, a love which also guides people in their individual relationships. Included with teaching on the science of love will be taught the true meaning of music, of vibration, of sound, as they relate to love. It is becoming a vivid reality to humankind en masse that unless the heart expresses pure love, the union of sex simply for pleasure becomes empty and unfulfilling. Only the well springs of pure love can bring the spiritual, mental, and physical delights to their ultimate fulfillment. The supreme emotion of love is as undefinable as the wind. It cannot be seen. It cannot be touched. It can only be felt in the hearts of men and women who have so enriched their lives. Love triangles. On the lower astral, confusing situations are sometimes created when a pilgrim arrives who has been married or committed to more than one person, having loved each. Occasionally, there is dissension over just who is the rightful partner. Although such matters are not taken to court, as they often are on earth, there are experts to consult about such things. First, the counselor encourages each individual to realize that one does not belong to anyone but oneself. Usually, each is advised to live alone for the time being. This way, each has an opportunity to more fully understand life on this plane, to discover oneself anew, at the same time discovering the one he or she truly desires to share full-time companionship with, or decide whether aloneness is preferred. No one is obligated to remain in a relationship with a partner just because it existed on Earth. The problem of having had two or more husbands, wives, or partners is usually solved by the pull of the stronger, finer affection. Each soul is eventually drawn to the one who is most sympathetic to their particular special needs and personality. It often is true on earth that men and women fall in love more than once in a single lifetime, nor will any of the loves be exactly the same. No one will ever fill exactly the same place a previous love has filled for you. Each will be loved in different ways, yet each love will give its portion to the soul's development. No experience is ever wasted. Can we love more than once? Indeed, it is possible to be deeply in love several times during the course of a lifetime, with each love bringing a new understanding to the heart. One may have been a purely physical love, offering no emotional understanding. Another may have been a true love on a physical and emotional plane, but lacking mental harmony. The soul who goes from one love to another, one divorce to another marriage, is seeking always that love which will harmonize with the soul physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Until such a love is found, one soul may well outgrow the other, and the union can degenerate into disillusionment and disappointment. Nevertheless, knowledge and inspiration have been drawn from each experience, and love has been shared. As we return to earth time after time, experiencing love after love, we gradually gain a wider spiritual understanding in that we become more selective in our choice of a partner. We become aware that there is much more to a relationship than sexuality. And as we grow spiritually, we seek a partner who can support and enhance our emotional, mental, and spiritual growth and truly partner us on all these levels. In a relationship where one person has outgrown the other, the one left behind will wonder why all efforts to bring happiness seem futile. If anything can save the relationship, it is for such a partner to make increased efforts to seek spiritual growth on their own and with the partner as well. This is no guarantee of success, but it may enhance the relationship when little else can, and may make either the continuing relationship much better, or if the couple still separates, help ease the pain of such a breakup due to the help of true spiritual understanding of such a decision. Such inharmonious partnering cannot happen in Etheria because Etherians understand vibrational equality, which we shall discuss later. Here, the spiritual vibration of every soul is easily discernible, and only those two who harmonize on every level would even consider a commitment with one another. Thus, over here, partings are also more rare. Since only those who are vibrationally harmonious ever join in a commitment, such unions usually are long lasting. What makes a harmonious marriage? Even now, the people of Earth, particularly the seekers, are learning how to discern inner qualities of a potential partner, and this is enhancing many relationships on all levels. As more people become more intuitive, more concerned with spiritual, mental, and emotional compatibility, perhaps you in turn will find your divorce ratio dwindling. Among Etherians, no material factors enter because on the astral, there are no economic problems, such as you of Earth encounter. There is no battle for food on the table or clothes on the back, only the searching for higher mental and spiritual progression. Your struggle to bring paradise into your unions is difficult indeed, but the fact that people on earth still do marry and make commitments to one another and try to find their happiness through love indicates that you are reaching for the heights. Here, we leave Burton and his enlightening words as quoted in this lesson. Earlyne, would like to continue with a few thoughts. Love and reality. It is difficult for the finite mind to understand when a teacher says that the world of matter is unreal. Touching the solid table seems too vivid a reality to be unreal. Yet the scientists well know that underlying the wooden makeup of the table is an indestructible unseen force. The same is true of love. Its quality is so intangible, yet so very real, that it can bring actual pain to the body and mind. For instance, I once sat with my consciousness so expanded it seemed that the whole wide world of love was spiraling down into the confines of my brain. A love so deep, so wide, so encompassing, that the pressure of it was actually painful to my mental body, to my mind. Does capacity to love depend upon soul development? It requires such an experience to learn that the soul must grow in order to understand the true reality of love, love as a force, love as a tangible reality. Even an expanded state of consciousness can hold only a portion, and though the downward pressures bring happiness, joy, ecstasy, and bliss, there is also the pain that the mind might burst with the joy of it. The squeal of the adolescent that he might burst with happiness is the shadowing of the real ecstasy. It is one thing to say, I love everyone. It is quite another to actually feel the force of such love currents striking the outer boundaries of the mind. To love the whole world, one must indeed know God. Yet again, God is greater than love. There is no human word that does not limit God. When we speak in terms of love, we speak of human love, and our finite minds cannot get beyond it. We think of the love of a mother and for her child, of a wife for her husband, of one for his partner. We think too in terms of the dedicated devotion we try to feel for God. Yet this is still human love, and God is far greater. To speak of God as love often reduces the divine being to human terms. God is that forevermore changeless, uncreated, unformed beingness, far, far above the humanness of the emotion we call love. Christ could say, God is love, for he fully understood the mystery of the love of which he spoke. Perhaps only those whose doors of perception have widened enough to feel a small measure of that downpouring love can realize how small is their cup. Only then can the individual realize how much greater is God than love. Afterwards, and it came to pass that the words of the fourth degree were fulfilled. Hail, initiate of the fourth degree. Together, we have met the challenge and passed another milestone. The teachings of life on the other side have become an innate part of our lives and understanding to the eternal merit of our souls. And these lessons, above all others, should have changed our very lives. Never again can we doubt or question what awaits us in the afterlife. We have met the enemy death and discovered death to be an angel in disguise. We have lifted the veil of Isis and found a new world waiting. The fourth degree Astarian now has a new sign. The secret sign of the fourth degree is given with the right hand. The second finger will touch the thumb, the index finger and the little finger will be held upright, while the third finger will be folded in the palm of the hand. Such a symbol will be representative of the clear light. The outer symbol will be the lotus crux ansata. The cross with the star and lotus is its heart, in its heart. Your image in the great hall of images at Astral Astara now wears this new symbol, and around your image now glows a new light, the light of one who is liberated. Remember, Astarian, that with completion of the third degree, you gained a pinnacle. You burn the bridges of your karma, which means that as you continue into the light as a seeker and hold faithfully to the spiritual lessons you have learned, making them a part of your life, you will create no new body of karma. You will have the choice of remaining forever liberated from the wheel of birth and death, and will go no more out from the house of your divine parent once you drop your present robe of clay. It is our fervent hope that you will continue your light seeking through the Astarian pathway. The third degree taught the science of death itself. The fourth degree has taught of life beyond death. What shall the lessons of the fifth degree contain? First, we shall pursue our searchings concerning love in the afterlife. Then, we shall probe the fascinating question of communication between the two worlds. We shall give as fully as possible a sure guide to such a science. We shall enter different phases of communication and explain it not only from our earth side, but as seen from over there, covering their side of the phenomena as well as ours. We have said before that we hope to direct seekers toward a safe channel of communication. We think that thousands, perhaps millions, will turn toward communication with the unseen as the age of Aquarius matures. And hopefully, among them will be Astarians to help make the way straight. Beyond these instructions, we shall begin teachings concerning the three pathways of salvation, going into the teachings of the mystery schools as they relate to salvation through initiation. We shall probe the life and mystical teachings of the Master Jesus, the Christ, presenting a new revelation concerning the truth behind his sacrifice on the cross. The Lotus Cross. At the end of the fifth degree, the initiate will be presented the Lotus Cross with an amethyst in its heart. If you feel the soul call to do so, initiate, walk a higher pathway with Robert, Sita, and me, and with Kuthumi, Rama, Zoser, and Astalea. The road is always upward, and the end can only be victory and light. Selah. There we go. The end of the fourth degree. Well, let us, since we're in a new month, if you guys are open, we'll do and bring out the October blessing. You guys open for that? A little extra juju, extra energy? Okay. Go ahead and just be in a nice receptive pose, palms facing up. Just be nice and relaxed. To all those that we have invoked to the universal logos, the causal logos, the creator of all that is. Let the blessings of the divine spirit come into our life, not to be permanent possessions, but to be given some further impulse of love by you, then passed on to another whose dark life needs their light, or whose weak life needs their sustenance. Tatatso, tatatso, tatatso. Beyond the ebb and flow of physical life, there is a serene pool of the eternal waters, which soothes and refreshes us, as would a magical balm. So I seek that which is above. I journey the way within to that holy land where there is healing for the troubled soul, stability for the ruffled mind. May my life fulfill the promise of its potential. So be it, so be it, so be it. Namaste, precious, precious souls. Thank you for joining Book of Life and for coming as far as we have come with this. This is fantastic. We'll see you tomorrow for the blessing of the prayer petitions. And then we have Wednesday, the Mystic Vibration class. And then we will have our upcoming 74-year anniversary So that's going to be fantastic. It's going to be great. So hopefully you can all join that. All those links will be on the website. It's great to see you all, and thank you all for being here so much. Namaste, namaste, namaste. Take good care. Bye-bye.